Hi everyone, welcome back for your GMAT Quant practice. I have created an in-depth course on Udemy to master GMAT concepts. The link is in the description. Let's understand this question carefully. Okay, now let's understand the question. It says that the domain of the function fx is equal to square root, whole square root, and under the square root there is under root x plus 2 minus under root 4 minus x is the set of real numbers x such that the options are given. So we just have to find out the range of x, right? What is the x value lies between. Now let's understand what is the domain mean for the functions, just for revision and understanding the question. That's our first step. Let's understand what does domain mean. Now domain is the possible values of x which you can substitute here, right? Which you can substitute in the function. These are the possible values which give you the value of fx. That is the value of the function. So domain is the possible values of values of the variable x, right? Which you substitute in the function and you get the value of the function. That value of the function has to be real. It can't be imaginary. The fx value can't be imaginary. So these domain is the possible values of x which is given in the option. And what is range? Let's quickly understand and review range as well, just for your information. Range is the possible values of fx, right? What are the possible values of fx? Possible values which you get of fx when you substitute x in the function. So what are the possible values or the output of that function? That is called as range. Okay, so if you understand the question very carefully, we require what is the domain, the x which substituted, right? What are the possible values of x such that the function is real, right? You cannot have a function which is imaginary. You cannot have a value of the function which is imaginary or not defined. These are the possible values of x. Now let's understand this question and solve it. Second step is to solve. Let's solve this using the options, right? Let's understand and solve the question using the options. Now options gives that x lies between -2 to 1, -2 to 4, 1 to 2, 1 to 4, and 2 to 4, inclusive in all the options. Now if you understand and solve on the and plot this. So x is -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the options gives us that x lies between -2 to 1. Option B, -2 to 4. So 4 and -2 included. 1 to 2, 1 and 2, and 1 to 4 already marked 2 to. So we just have to figure out and substitute these values, that is -2, 1, 2, 4, and see to it wherever the function gives us the real value, that's the fx value comes out to be real, that is the correct option. Let's start with option A and substitute x as -2. Let's substitute x as -2 in the function. Let's see what will the function now be. X as -2 substituted. So -2 plus 2 under the root minus 4 minus x, that is 4 minus of -2, right? Under the root and whole under root. Now if we solve this, -2 plus 2 is 0, square root 0 is 0, minus 4 minus of -2, that is 4 plus 2, which is square root 6 under the root. Now if we understand 0 minus square root 6 is minus square root 6 minus of square root 6. Let's write like this, square root 6 under the root, right? Now this is going to be an imaginary number. Why? Because square root, under the square root there is a negative sign. That means this is imaginary. That means the function value cannot have an imaginary value. That means this value of x is not possible. That means -2 you cannot substitute back into the function. Why? Because the function value comes out to be an imaginary, which is not possible, right? The function has to be a real number. It can't be imaginary or non-defined. That means x is -2. Option A and B eliminated. Now we are left with C, D, E. Let's substitute 1. Let's substitute option C, x as 1. So what will be the value of the function at x as 1? So 1 plus 2, that is 3, square root, minus 1 minus 1, 4 minus 1, that is square root 3, under the root, right? Now square root 3 minus square root 3, that is 0, whole under the root. And square root of 0, that is 0. So the function value at x is equal to 1 comes out to be 0, which is a real number. That means this is a possibility. 1 is a possible answer, or the value of x. That means 1 has to be there in the option. That means option E, which do not have 1, gets eliminated. Now we have eliminated 3 options out of 5 just by understanding and solving with respect to the options. Now out of C and D which we are left, let's substitute 4xx, x as 4, that is option D, writing here for the space. So x as 4, if we substitute, what will be the value of the function now if x is 4? So 4 plus 2, that is 6, under the root, minus 4 minus 4, that is 0, under the root, whole under the root. Now this is square root 6 minus 0 is square root 6 under the root. Now this is a real number, right? Square root 6 whole under root. That means the value of the function is this one, which is a possible value at x is equal to 4. That means x is the domain of this particular function. That means x has to be there in the option. That means x as 4 should be there. That means out of C and D, D being the correct. Why? Because it has to have 4 as the value of x, which satisfies the given function which is there, right? So that's how we have just solved the question using the options. We have not used any algebra. You can do a lot of algebra here by taking this as positive, this also as greater than equal to 0. Why? Because it can't be negative anytime, but it might take a lot of time, but we can still solve the question without the algebra using the options, which is quite important on the GMAT. So start doing the question, solving the question. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this video helpful. Explore my course on Udemy for mastering GMAT concepts. Click on the link in the description.